So my first panelist is Robert Hines. Robert Hines has a PhD in cognitive psychology and has been a faculty in the psychology department at UALR since 1997. He teaches classes related to cognitive psychology and sensation and perception. In his research, he studies the processes that go on when adult readers are trying to comprehend new information. He also studies what types of learning strategies are most effective so that students can form the best mental representation of what they have read and be able to remember the information later. Please join me in welcoming Robert Hines.
Should I stay seated or should I stand?
I don't know, can he stand or stay seated with?
You can stand if you want.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you for that welcome. Again, my name is Bob Hines, and the area, the place in...
Here?
No. Okay. Could you? Okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
much
yeah,
better.
it's better.
Thanks.
Yeah. My name is Bob Hines, and I'm at UA Little Rock. For decades and decades, you knew that as UALR, and then a couple months ago, we've changed our name to UA Little Rock, and I'm trying to get used to saying it myself. So I've been in the psychology department there for about 20 years now, and I'm a cognitive psychologist. And so I study human memory, thought processes, decision making. I do basic research. It doesn't have a lot of real-world applications, but in my classes, I love talking to students about memory and their memory issues. My favorite assignment to give students is to ask them to tell me about their most bizarre or disturbing memory failure they've ever had. And some of you might want to think about that question yourself. Sometime when you were supposed to get up in front of that high school auditorium and give that speech, and you memorized it, and then you got up there in front of all these strangers or friends, drew a blank. You weren't able to do that. Then I have them analyze it in terms of principles of cognitive psychology, human memory. And I found that it adds a lot of insight. Students begin to get a deeper sense of what their memory is about. I love answering questions about human memory. Very often people will ask me, why do I forget? What can I do to help me to remember better? One time I met a guy that was going through a very nasty relationship breakup. He's the only person. I said, I'm a cognitive psychologist. I study memory. And he asked me, he said, what can I do to forget?
Thank you, Bob Hines, everybody. So our next panelist is Linda Larson Pryor. She is professor of psychology, neurobiology, and developmental sciences and neurology at the University of Arkansas for Medical Sciences. Her laboratory research focuses on the interactions between the brain and sleep in adults as they age and in both health and disease. The laboratory uses a number of neuroimaging tools to study this, from electroencephalography, or EEGs, to functional magnetic resonance imaging, or fMRIs, and using both tasks and quiet awake. She led one operational teamwork on the Human Connectome Project, which was a large international team of investigators tasked with defining the brain connection patterns in normal adult human subjects using magnetoencephalography, or MEG, and fMRI methodologies. This approach to looking at the way the brain works is called connectomics and is another important tool her laboratory uses to better understand the role of behavioral and neural state on function across the lifespan. She is also actively involved in mentoring and mentorship programs and has mentored research professionals at all levels, from high school through early faculty. She has also provided formal mentorship training to both mentors and mentees through workshops and invited lectures. She believes that strong and proactive mentorship programs early in professional training will ensure a successful scientific workforce for the future. Please join me in welcoming Linda Larson Pryor.
So my area of interest is in sleep. I think we can all recognize that sleep is important to us. And it turns out that sleep is also important for our memory. So we now know, we have increasing amounts of evidence to suggest that no matter what our age, the poorer the quality and duration of our sleep, the less likely we are to remember things, the harder it is for us to learn new things, and the less attention we pay to things we ought to pay attention to. So I'm interested in that, and I'm interested in how that affects our daily life and on our mental and physical health, which is clearly something we all have to worry about, and something that we all need to worry about more and more as we age. But truthfully, little ones, they have to worry about it too. And all of us who are parents or grandparents, we have to be concerned for our children, because we are living in a world where increasingly their opportunities for sleep and for normal sleep are actually very much restricted. And that's going to affect their development, and that's not necessarily a good thing, and I guess not necessarily a bad thing, but we should all be paying a little bit of attention to it as we go along.
All right, thank you, Linda. Linda Larson, Pryor. And our final guest, as I said, was my guest on the radio show, if you happened to hear that a little while ago. This is Mark Keppinger. He's a native of Arkansas, born in Jonesboro, and graduated from Brooklyn High School. Most of his education has been in Arkansas, graduating with a degree in zoology from Arkansas State University, where he developed an interest in dragonflies. Then going on to medical school and residency in neurology at the University of Arkansas for Medical Sciences. After a few years of private practice in the mountains of western North Carolina, Mark completed a fellowship in behavioral neurology and dementia at the University of California in Los Angeles and returned to UAMS. Mark has always had a love for Irish music. He plays the bodhran, is that right? Bodhran. Okay, I'm so sorry. A traditional drum, and helped found the Arkansas Celtic Music Society. He moved to Ireland in 2006, returning to set up a private practice in neurology in El Dorado. Now back at UAMS full-time, Mark sees patients in the Walker Family Memory Center and the TLLC. What is that?
That's the geriatrics clinic.
Okay, the geriatrics
That's the
clinic.
Thomas and Lyons Longevity Center.
Okay,
So that's one of the names of our geriatric clinic.
okay.
That's 3 or 4 names.
Mark is a behavioral neurologist and has a special interest in neurological diseases that affect memory, thinking, and behavior, which includes Alzheimer's disease, dementia with Lewy bodies, and frontotemporal dementia. Mark is a member of the American Academy of Neurology and is board certified by the American Board of Psychiatry in Neurology. He is also a member of the International Society to Advance Alzheimer's Research and Treatment, a founding member of the Arkansas Celtic Music Society, and a member of the Dragonfly Society of the Americas. Please welcome Mark Keppinger.
Thank you. I appreciate that lovely introduction. So I'm a clinician. I'm a behavioral neurologist that takes care of people that have problems with their memory. So that's how I intersect with all of the memory. I see people who have diseases that are slowly taking away their memory, and that's a very frightening thing to people. We are a busy clinic, and I see people now entirely within the Department of Geriatrics. My appointment is in the Department of Neurology, but all of my work's over in geriatrics. And it's very rewarding work being able to see people, to help provide an answer for what's going on, and to help give some idea. Although often people say, isn't that depressing? You're telling people that they're going to lose their memory, but at the same time it can be rewarding in the sense of explaining to people what's going on, giving them an answer to tell them what it is that's been happening, and being able to help them figure out some ways of dealing with that. And that's one of the things that we do. I do have an interest in a couple of different areas of research. One of those is in clinical research and clinical drug trials. We look out for that, and at UAMS we're just about to start getting involved in clinical drug trials in Alzheimer's disease and the other dementias. And the other area that I'm most interested in is what's called health services research, studying how healthcare is delivered and studying what it is that doctors do and how we can improve what doctors do to diagnose and take care of people.
All right, thank you, Mark Keppinger. All right, so as I said, the rest of the evening is audience questions, and it's just like elementary school. You raise your hand, and I will do my best to call on you. So who's got a question?